Hi there, Kevin Tharp here. What we're going to be talking about today is switching from simply relative URLs to root relative URLs. So just to catch you up on where we're at, I started with this very basic file that we created in the case study part 1 and took the code from that and I saved it as a template in Aptana. We called that case study template.html. Looking at that, it uses this code to link to the Community Garden logo. So this is the basic code that we're using. Set that up as a template for the case studies. We're going to have to go through there and change that. So we haven't populated all the pages at this point. But what we did do is we created an additional file from that template that we created, and we saved it into the project's index.html, and you'll notice that this is the exact same code that we originally used in the case studies. So right now we've got this closing the projects just to keep things clear. Inside the case studies folder we've got the index.html, and inside that there is the projects folder, and we saved the index.html file inside of that. I've saved those and I've synchronized them up to the server. So when I go to the server, this is what I have, and on this first page everything is as it should be. I've added a link to the projects page so that we can navigate to that, and then when I click on that projects, you'll notice that the logo is broken. Using the exact same code, the reason that it is broken is if I go to the let's go ahead and view the page source. It's pointing to images/communitygardenlogo.png, and that doesn't work from the projects folder. Why is that? Because that code images/communitygardenlogo.png, if we are in this index file, what it's saying is look within the same folder for a folder called images and then communitygardenlogo.png. There is no images folder. The reason it works in this file, which is the root of the case studies, because it's again using the same code, it is looking for images community garden. But since we are in the case studies at this point, it is looking for images. It finds that and it looks for community garden logo.png. So using that document relative path of images/community garden logo.png allows it to find it in this level but not in this level, because everything is relative. It's a relative URL. So just using that doesn't work. So now how could we do that? There's a couple of ways that we could do that. We could simply do .. and I'm working on the projects index.html right now. I could just do .. Let's go ahead and save that, and we'll upload that and see what happens. So I bring my browser back, make sure I'm on the projects `page, and I'm going to reload that. Now it works, and the reason it works is because what we did is by adding that .. we said go up one level in the directory tree and then look for the folder images/communitygardenlogo.png. And so it went from here, went up one level, so it was in the projects folder, went up to the case studies, and then started looking for it. So as we're working on our template, we need to find a way so that we can change that from a document relative path to a path that's going to work from anywhere. And the way that we have to do that is we've got to bring it all the way back to looking at the root level. The way that we do that is we put a /. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this, everything within the quotation marks, and we'll start fresh. Okay, so we want to make it relative to the root level. So we put the /. That gives us the level. what I want to do to work on this is I want to go to the root level within this case studies. Let's go ahead and change this URL. Again, I'm in the case studies. Let's go ahead and close all of these other files so that we know exactly which one we're working on. And it is the index.html. Let's go ahead and close that just so that you know. What's in case studies, index.html. One of the things that we can do, and this you should get in the habit of doing this all the time. And I'm just going to call that the Community Garden Home. You'll remember that we in the projects page we changed the title within the case study too. So anyway, there we are. We're at the index.html, and I'm going to change this path to this logo. And what we want to do is we want to make it use a path that'll work from anywhere in the site. So I'm going to go to the root level. Okay, so that brings me up to this folder here. And then I want to go to exercises, and then I do the / case studies, and there's my images folder. And then the only file in there right now is Community Garden logo. So when I put that / in, it automatically filled that in because that's the only image in there at this point. So this is a path that is going to allow it to work from any location. So let's go ahead and copy that. Let's save this file. And then I'm going to close this just so that I know exactly what I'm working on. I'm going back to the projects index.html, and you'll remember in the title we put projects. So that's a way to know which file you're working on. And I'm going to change this URL here to this exact same root relative URL that I used in the index.html. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to again synchronize my case studies folder. And I'm not going all the way up because the only thing I've worked on is the case studies folder. So I'm going to synchronize that. That's going to move my files up so that when I then come in here, let's go back to the case studies. Let's reload this document because we changed the URL, and let's go to the projects and make sure that we've reloaded that. Okay, this time it's working. So if I go and again I'm looking at the projects page, and you can tell that by looking at the tab here, going back to the Community Garden. So that's what's coming out of that title field that I changed a minute ago. If I look at the code here, you'll see that it's using that root relative URL. When I go to the projects page and again view the source, you'll see that that's also using the root relative page, and now it's working. So what that allows us to do is with our template, which is actually going to live over here, we can now change that template so that no matter where we save that document to, that image is going to work. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to insert that that same URL, and what this is where the image for the logo is at. I'm inserting that root relative URL that I used in both the case studies homepage and the projects page. And now when we create a new page from this template, then it's going to use that root relative path so that no matter where we save that document, the logo is still going to work. So this is going to become really important as we start making hyperlinks to different locations so that they work at any level. And this becomes a fundamental thing to understand when you're working with templates, is that you've got to create them in such a way that they're going to function with the relative URLs from wherever you're likely to save that document. So to just finish up, let's make sure that we save this. Save everything, and just to confirm that it's working the way it should be, we'll do File, New from Template, HTML, Case Study Template, and what we're looking for is, does it have that root relative URL so that any of these pages that we're going to use will work from that. It does. Now, one last thing I'd like to do is, while we're in this template, let's go ahead and go in there and let's change this title, because the only place that this template is going to be used is for the community garden. Okay, so I'm changing that title to the community garden because this is only going to be used as a template for the community garden web pages, and then as I go in I can update those just as I did in the projects page to say projects the community garden, homepage the community garden. We can adapt that to each page so that it's unique to that page. Save that, and then we'll continue in the next video.